And then we're going to upgrade to this one, and we're going to have program the lights on this thing, okay? And then we're going to program Rumble so that the gamepad actually talks to you, all right? And then compare, who needs more buttons on their gamepad when they're programming? Come on, everybody put your hand up. Come on, we know you want more functions. You get more buttons with this guy, all right? And last one, we're going to discuss some possible real world situations where I can show you the programming stuff and we go, oh, I can see how that's going to work, all right? I'm Mr. McCluskey. I have 3 teams. If you're in the area, you go, oh, yeah, he's the Roboplex guy. We have the only dedicated FTC, permanent FTC arena in all of North Texas. It's really nice. If you get a chance, please come out and see us. It's really, really nice. We also do training classes. So we train newbie FTC coaches. We train FLL coaches. And we are, shameless plug, getting ready to off an intermediate programming class, which is going to rock. It will be taught by Patrick Michaud. All right, next slide. All right, why would you want to upgrade? Number 1, more buttons, because you always need more buttons. 2, never start on the wrong side of the field again. Who has? On your mark, right? You pick up, you got your autonomous, you all fire it up, you hit, 3, 2, 1, go, you press the button, and the robot heads off to the wrong direction because you programmed it for red instead of blue. Come on, raise your hands. I know you've done it. Okay. Or you fire it up and you thought you were on the left side at your left side starting position, but in reality you were in the right side starting position. So you smashed into that wall instead. I know you've done it. This is a way that we're going to help do it. Wouldn't it be cool if, and it's tougher to see on the front here, but if you were the driver and you were holding the gamepad and you saw blue and you're on the red side and you go, something's wrong, okay? So what, not while you're running, while you're in the knit, okay? So you can change all those colors programmatically. So during the init, once we init our robot, we set our gamepad to be, we don't set it to green because that's not good. We set it to the color that we're going to be on the Alliance side. So my driver immediately gets some feedback about what he's going on. Other reason, different colors. Which one is the gamepad? Has anybody, you've got your stuff sitting down because they won't let you touch the controls ahead of time, right? Okay. On your mark, get set, go. You pick up the gamepads and the driver got the gunner and the gunner got the driver. And so you're, or better yet, who grab first thing they pick them up and they go start A, start B. Do you realize you don't have to do that? I'm going to tell you how to do that. So we're picking up, the red one always picks up the gunner and the driver always picks up the white one. That makes things pretty easy, doesn't it? All right, skins. Because they're PS2s and there's a billion of them out there, you can get all these cool silicone skins that look like leopards and stuff like that. Has absolutely no interest to me. But if you can find something that meets the theme of your team, okay, go for it. And lastly, better feel. If you ask a programmer, they will tell you that this is a really nice stick. It's smooth. It's going. You don't think that a gamepad can improve your drivability. In reality, it can. One of the key things is it has a much smaller dead zone, okay? So on this stick, when you're trying to do some really fine motion stuff, right? You need to sneak up to that pole to drop a pole, or you need to back up a little bit, and you're like, oh, no, too much. Okay, fine. Oh, we're off to the side. It's because numerically, this thing starts at 0, and there's a pretty good sized dead zone before it starts to read. Does that make sense? And it's a floating point number between 0 and 1. Well, this one starts counting smaller, so it's much easier to make your robot go slow and do fine precision work with this set of joysticks than it is this set of joysticks. So almost like right there, depending on your game, that might be worth the price of admission right there. Okay? So all these are good reasons why you might want to upgrade. All right, next one. Wow, don't worry about reading that. Okay. We're gonna talk about illegal game pads and their features, just so I'm telling you what we're talking about. Here's the first thing, most important thing of the slide. No compatibles. You cannot go on to Amazon and buy an Xbox compatible gamepad, because that's the first hit you're going to get when you open up Amazon, and they're cheaper, and they're not allowed by first. These are the only controllers that are allowed into FTC in the game manual right now. Any old game controller will work if you plug it in, but you can only run these guys. All right. So let's start going through them. The venerable Logitech. Okay. It works. It's reliable. Our team used them for years. It has no lights. It has no rumble. And on Amazon, as of this morning, they were all at $17.50. They're almost the equivalent of a Bic lighter. You can throw them away when you're done with them at that price. Okay. The next up on the list is the Xbox. Oh wait, sorry, this is the Xbox. There's an Xbox controller. It works. It's allowed. It's only allowed when you use it wired. Okay, you have to have the wire in between it. You cannot use it wirelessly. And these guys are about. I'm not sure the particular model. I'm not sure that this particular model is still in stock because I couldn't find it on Amazon. Xbox has moved up a level, and this controller, you may have a tough time finding. But it got the light in it. I can't control the color of the light in this one, okay? So you will only get rumble if you go to an old school Xbox controller. So probably not your top choice. Next one on the list is the Sony DualSense. I don't have one of those physically available to show you. It's allowed. It's on the new PS5. Okay, so you can rip the controller off your PS5 and run this. And it has one feature that the 4 didn't, and it's got a gyro in it. And so you could like control things like this, which is really cool, except doesn't work in FTC because there's nothing in the software library that allows you to read the gyro. So you're paying extra money for the gyro and you don't get any benefit from it. So right now I'm writing this one off. And the E-Park. Here it is. Not available on Amazon anymore. It's available through Rev Robotics. This is Rev Robotics cheapy one. It has a touchpad, okay? Does not have lights, okay? But it's pretty reasonable price. It's like 24 bucks. So if you only need more buttons, this will give you more buttons, and it'll give you the touchpad for very little dollars extra. The last one here is this quad stick. Probably not going to apply for most of you. The quad stick is first nod to folks with disabilities. You ever seen the guy in the wheelchair that's full paralyzed from the neck down? And he steers the wheelchair with a little stick? No?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a special disabilities joystick that's probably not going to apply to most of you. All right, let's move on. Any questions on gamepads? Only gamepads you can use. Do not show up at a competition with another one. All right. Kind of want to show that, but can we get the thing out of the way that says state camera? Is that possible? Can we just scroll things around? I can tell them what it says.
There.
Wouldn't it be cool if you didn't have to hit start A and start B? If you just picked up the one that said that you would put a label on that said driver and it went. You already have that capability. Okay. It's already in there and almost nobody. Does anybody use it? Everybody preset it? One guy in the back. Good for you. It's easy. You fire up your driver station and you know where you hit, right, the 3 little dots and then you hit configure hardware? No. Okay. So on the driver station, come up and I'll show you later on, but on the driver station, you can't show this to there, can you? Okay. On the driver station, there's 3 ellipses in the upper left-hand corner, okay? You hit the 3 dots, and then most of the time we're hitting configure robot, okay? But there's one called settings, okay? And you click on settings, And then if you scroll down a little bit, under gamepads, there's one that says advanced gamepad features. And then there's one that says user 1 and user 2. When you have both controllers on, it just asks you to push a button anywhere on the controller, and that will be gamepad 1. And then you do it for gamepad 2. And so now, regardless of which port you plug it in, that gamepad will always be gamepad. Your gamepad 2 will always be gunner, and your gamepad 1 will always be driver. Okay. Oh wait, what if you totally screwed it? You can still override them with start A and start B. Okay, so you have that control. So that's the first thing. You know what I'm talking about with the non-zero gamepad? These are really fun to watch when you're in competition. On your mark, get set, go, and the robot just like slides off sideways, and the driver goes, I'm not doing anything. If you hold a gamepad, so all the buttons are digital, right? 0 and 1. Okay. The triggers and the sticks are analogs. A continuous set of numbers between 0 and 1, right? If you are holding the gamepad like this, right? When you start it up, or when you plug in the cord, okay? It takes that as being 0. Okay? So now, nothing. If you've got the, so if you've got the stick pressed to this corner, when you initialize the gamepad, okay, and then you let it go back to 0, it thinks it's like heading off that, your robot's going to head off in that direction. Okay? So even if you're using this gamepad, no problem. When that happens, now the problem is you're not going to recognize it happens until you actually start driving and the robot smashed into something. Okay, you got to recognize it. Have some command planned ahead of time to yell at your coach, because your coach is the guy that's holding the driver station, right? Okay. He's got to unplug these and plug them back in, and they will reinitialize to 0. So there's fixing non-zero joysticks on the fly. Unplug them and replug them back in. That will fix your problem. You do not have to reboot everything. Do not call for the FTA. Okay. By the time that he gets to your ring and he unplugs them and puts them back together, you will have lost at least 30, 40 seconds out of your match. All righty. Let me use your controller. You know, this guy's a button in the middle. Okay. You know this guy, that little Logitech logo in the middle? It's a button. You can use it. You can program it. Okay. It's called Gamepad1.guide. It's the exact same as using Gamepad1.y or A or B or stuff like that. So you got more functionality there. Okay. Now the sticks are analog, right? You also know that the sticks are digital. But if you push down on the sticks, they're buttons. Okay. We have a gyro control. We use a robot with gyro control. If our gyro gets off, we smash into a wall somewhere on purpose. And when we hit the wall, it squares up the robot, right? And then we press both sticks, and that resets our gyro. So take advantage of those buttons as well. So those are things you can do from your existing gamepad before you even upgrade your gamepad. Next slide. Programming the lights on this guy is extraordinarily easy. Okay, it is a one-line. I thought this was going to be difficult. It's not. It is a one-liner. It's gamepad, set LED color, and then it takes 4 numbers. The first, red, green, blue, and you're looking at a number between 0 and 1. It's a floating point number, so you can stick in intensities in there. And the last one is a duration in milliseconds. So this is going to show red for 10 seconds. That's the line you have up there. Easy to do. And here it is operationally. I programmed it to the buttons. Let me run here. Hold on. Try to run the driver station. And we have red and blue, which I used to show the announce. So in addition to seeing it in there, there's also a little light pipe that's pumping it up here. So it's basically shining it right, that blue light right into the driver's eyes. There's green, if you want to represent something that's not red and green, alliance base colors. And there I also programmed white. You can do any combination of red, green, blue you want, so you should be able to get the entire spectrum of colors if you'd like. In the documentation, there is supposed to be a constant called LED duration continuous. I couldn't get it to work. If you figure out how to get it to work, please send me an email and let me know what the magic secret is, because I couldn't get it to go. Sending a new light replaces the current light. Any questions? Everybody can do that, right? That's not hard at all. All right, let's go to the next one. Rumble. There's a couple of ways to make your gamepad rumble. Okay, they have cool little motors sitting in the handles here, and I don't have to show you all the code. I don't have to give you the code because First already did it for you, but you probably didn't want to take time to look. If you go, you hit the big plus in your on-bot Java environment. So I'm going to create a new file. And then for the sample, instead of basic op mode linear or whatever you were going to pick, go find the one that says concept gamepad rumble. It is well documented. It will explain you exactly how to use it. Let me just kind of give you the highlights. You can manually rumble, okay? You can rumble so you just call, hey, for this game, which is different than Gamepad 2 being the gunner, okay? Rumble, and you give it a number that, how strong do I want the right one to rumble? How strong do I want the left side to rumble? There's two separate motors inside the thing, and then a duration in milliseconds. It's just that easy. So that's like the most primitive way to get things rumble. You can set up rumble patterns. So while you're in a knit, before you actually get to run, they've got a mechanism, it's all documented there, that I want to rumble the right one for so many milliseconds, and then I want to wait some milliseconds of dead time, and then I want to do the left one twice or something like that. Whatever pattern you think you need for some reason, you can set up fancy patterns, okay? And then, so this all gets defined down ahead of time, and then it's a really simple call to actually say, hey, use rumble pattern number 3. And the last thing, all the documentation say is don't spam the rumble. First of all those commands are having to come through telemetry. You probably don't want to overload your telemetry as it is anyway. Okay. So just kind of make that part simple. ePark, based on what I've read, that's this one that's available from Rev. I've read documentation that indicates that there's only one rumble, one motor in it. Explain the purpose. All right, moving on. All right, now we're getting into the fun stuff. I'm going to just connect this so I can walk up to you. There's a touchpad up here, okay, which is kind of fun because nobody else has a touchpad. When you touch it, okay, you're going to get an event. You're being touched. You don't even have to press it or click it, okay? If you put your other finger on it, you'll get another finger. As soon as you've got a touch, it will also give you an X and Y position for that finger. You could do an X and Y for the other finger, and it'll read them both at the same time. You could conceivably, but I can't think of why anybody would want to do this, but you could conceivably replace your joysticks with just the touchpad, and you would have access to both joysticks, something equivalent to both joysticks. So you pick up 2 joysticks. Okay, I'm not going to drive my robot on the touchpad, okay? But what I can do is do things like swipe. So let's say I have a game where there's basically lanes, like the game we just had, right? And you've got presets set up for lane 1, lane 2, and lane 3. And you just want to move to the right of lane, or you want to move left of lane, okay? that'd be fine, or up or down. So you could encode all kinds of functionality into the gamepad, almost like buttons. So swipe up, swipe down, swipe left, touch twice. Here's what I haven't found, and if you guys find it, please let me know. Have not located, this thing clicks, it's physically a button, and I have not found that button, and I looked everywhere. So the click of this thing I have not located yet. Definitely use it for swipe. All right, see what do we got after that? Possible uses. How does this apply to me? Okay. Remember that non-centered joystick we talked about earlier where you had to plug and unplug? It would certainly be better to know that you had messed that up during initialization than before the game starts, right? Okay. So we program ours to, we read it, we assume that the guy's going to be set like this, right? Not touching the controls. If during a knit, if the joysticks read 0, life is good. If they read something other than 0, okay, we set the rumble on to both things full strength, just using the manual rumble control. Okay. So now, if all of a sudden you pick up a joystick and it's going like this, it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, wait a minute, unplug and replug the sticks. And now it works. That's the time you would really like to know that information. So you guys know how the scoring works, right? You got 10 choices to get, you have 15 opportunities to make 5 perfect runs, right? Or to win 5 games, right? 10 games, right? You don't want to lose 1 game, especially for this. If you have 6 autonomous programs, stop, okay? If you have an autonomous program for Red Alliance, okay? If you have an autonomous program called Red Position 1, okay? Or another variation that's Red Position 1, where we're parking on the left side of the park zone or the up side. If you're creating all kinds of variations of your autonomous to handle the different cases, stop, start using switches. Okay? Fire up your program, okay, and we just simply say, oh, we're on Red Alliance or Blue Alliance, and our color light changes. And send a pattern of rumbles to the left and right side to indicate what position you're driving in. Your driver will pick up the controller and go, whoa, something's wrong. I'm standing on the right side of the field, and my left hand is getting 3 blips every once in a while. Something. Wait. Oh, are switching to be on the left side. Is your robot program still running? Worst time to call the FTA is once the match starts. Okay? If all of a sudden your robot loses connectivity, burps, goes up on itself, whatever reason, okay? The nice thing about this, if the robot is sending a command to say, run blip every 3 seconds, so the controllers go, tut, 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 tut. For some reason that program stops running on your robot, it'll stop blipping in your hands. So you know you have lost connection, and you can call the exit. You can just say FTA right there. They aren't going to start the game as long as you've got an issue that says we've lost connectivity. FTA is going to try and fix it to you. Fix it for you. Visual target identified. Let's say, just hypothetically, you had a game where there was a cone in front of you, and maybe it had an April tag or something like that out in front of it, and your robot was sitting right in front of it. Wouldn't it be handy for you to know what the robot saw? Okay. So let's say there were only 2 variations, right? And now I show color green if it's this one, and I show color orange if it's number 2, and maybe it's white if it's number 3, so I know what the robot is seeing. All of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, I can see that it's supposed to be number 2, and it's showing number 3. Excuse me. Our cone needs to adjust. Can you adjust that cone a little bit? Yeah, that's good now. Yeah, we can go. Okay. And the last thing, again, don't pick up the wrong controller. It's pretty easy to label. It's really easy for my guys to, the gunner always picks up the red one, and this guy always picks up the white one. And there is no start A or start B because we already programmed it on the switches, okay? And last thing, so these things are all kind of before the game starts for the most part. And this one is notifying you during the game. The driver will never, ever have time to look at the driver's station. Not that person's job, okay? But you may want to know when, hey, you've collected 2 items in a hopper, and I need to jettison it before the referee sees. Or the robot is facing away from me, and I need to know when some distance sensor says that I'm in range and can score. Right, as opposed to looking that way. It's a really good way to provide in-game feedback to you. So I think this is the way to go. Okay. Out of all 4 of them, all 5 of them, I think this is the one to buy. But I gave you the criteria to make the choice otherwise. The one warning would be, if you program it, so the only way you can drive your robot is with the features like the touchpad. So your software is now relying on Stripe, and you don't have some alternate way to run it, nobody else is going to be able to help you at the thing and loan you one of these. So you better have a spare. All right, so it's going to cost you actually twice as much because you're going to need a spare. Or have a way that if need be, you can pull out your trusty F310 and there's another way to do that stuff. That feedback, it can all come through the driver station. Okay, but now it moved it off, that moved the information away from the driver to your code. Is it less than optimal? Yes, but at least it's a plan B. Does that make sense? So don't make it so you're dependent on what's effectively a non-standard piece of equipment still. It's illegal, but somewhat non-standard. Anything else?
That looks like it's.
Oh
Yeah.
Here's my shameless advertisement. Okay, if you like this kind of information, we are putting together, along with that guy in the corner over there, what's going to be a rocking class in its intermediate program. It's all this kind of stuff. It's about mechanism gyro drives. It's going to be about sensors that you haven't played with before. If that sort of thing interests you, keep an eye out on the Roboplex website. That would be marcusrobotics.com because it's coming up. We're going to try to target, it sounds like maybe September 30th. Hopefully we'll get some year-end by then. Okay? It will not be taught by me. I'll be in the back of the room. We'll do somebody much smarter and better looking than myself will be giving the lesson. Any other questions? Yes?
What's the exact model for the PS4 DualShock that you recommended?
Yeah, if you hit PS2 DualShock, that's it.
It's like the standard one.
Just a standard one that came with the PS4. Here, it's these. I mean, this is them. They give you. Can you go to like the second page?
Yep.
It's in the manual. It's It's ASIN number BOLWVG. This is it. Okay. The DualSense 5 is the one that's pricier. Other questions? Yeah, in the back. Just say it again. I'm an old man, and there's a blower up here. Yes, absolutely. So you get so you first get a Boolean that says there's one finger, okay, then you put the other finger, and then the other Boolean of the other finger becomes true. Does that make sense? And then as soon as those are, you can now run down your if statement and get the X and Y on the by finger. So it's finger dot gamepad dot finger one dot X. Finger dot gamepad dot finger one dot Y. Okay, and then just gamepad one dot finger is a true or false. It says whether or not you got a finger on the button or not. Yeah. Reliable. they make like millions of these things and they've used them for gaming for a long time, and the gamers like this control. So I haven't run enough tests to really give you a reliable answer to that. I can tell you that the gaming community kind of has, and they don't hate it. As a matter of fact, there's a whole lot of gamers that like it, and they aren't gonna like one that's not reliable. So is that an acceptable answer for you? I have not done like extensive testings or anything like that. It works, I plug it in, it goes. Yes?
Why do we have support for the Xbox One controller?
Um,
Why are they illegal?
Oh, why are they illegal? Because FLYSET said so. Really, there's like a billion controllers out there. I think they probably tried to pick a little bit of everything. This out of the choices, to me, this is the Cadillac. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't know why. Why? No, I can't begin to tell you why. Anybody in the back? Questions in the back? No?
Great job.
All right. Yes.
Have you ever had one of these misfire before? And then you what could have happened?
Let's say again.
Misfire.
A misfire?
What,
You mean like where it didn't register a button press or had a button press anywhere where it's not?
I haven't run, we just started using these and we're kind of excited about. I do not have miles of experience on them yet. So this would be the first game where we dive into this 100%.
However,
Okay.
our team used them, so.
I have a question.
Well, you gotta answer her question first. Anytime when you press the buttons that it didn't read for you. It does what you asked it to.
Yeah.
I think that's your question, right?
More importantly, the drivers like these controllers much better than the Logitech.
Yes. They're also prettier, but that's not.
They're smoother, they're nicer,
Yes,
right?
they're beautiful. My question was, have you, in your experience with them, run into any issues with the fact that these you have to plug in to the controller versus the Logitech having a crossfire?
Not yet, but I'm nervous about it.
Because we had one where it became a little weak.
What she's referring to is on the Logitech. I keep rolling them up, I don't know why. This is physically attached, okay? On this one, it is a USB micro. It's fairly positive, and there's a little barb on here that's designed to hold it in, okay? You can actually hear a fairly positive click when you snap it in. It takes a fair amount of pull to get out, but it does come out. And yeah, the idea of maybe a 3D printed something that kind of holds this to that, yeah, I'm thinking about that, but I haven't designed one yet. Great question. Great. I mean, that's like a level 3 question, guys.
We have a few questions from online.
Okay.
So is the modification of FTC illegal gamepads allowed?
Nope.
Okay. So another one would be.
Here, hold on. Let me ask the head referee for the regiment. Can they modify these things?
You are allowed to add things to them, like physical things if you wanted to have wider buttons and things like that. You are not allowed to open them and modify the electronics. You're not allowed to modify the components that are part of the game.
Yeah.
Did that answer? I hope.
Yeah,
Did he hear it?
I think so. I'll send a message.
Okay.
And then another one was, what would the second choice of the controller be?
Probably old reliable. I mean, yeah, that's probably where I'd go. If you're gonna, it's a big jump in price. If you only wanted the touch screens and the colored it, to me, the lights are important, okay? So that's the only entry, okay? The park, if you only wanted the buttons, you could consider the park because the price tag is really nice. But like they're saying over there, she'll never go back. 7172 is.
Yeah, nothing else, no.
Oh, wait, one more. Okay, sorry. I'm looking into the light. I'm not ignoring you.
bit of a stretch. I have that control.
Hold on. Let me think.
It's like unopened.
No. Well, wait a minute, I should maybe rephrase. Sure, $100 and it is yours.
Do a raffle. Giveaway.
All right, I think I'm done. Yeah, that's it.